Throwaway account. I need to get this off my chest because I feel like I'm living in a movie I didn't audition for. My wife, let's call her Lena, and I have been married for 7 years, together for 10. We don't have kids, but we've built what I thought was a solid life. Decent house, mutual friends, a couple of vacations a year. We both work full-time jobs, different fields, different schedules. But we made it work. At least, I thought we did. It started small, weird little things. Lena, who used to be kind of obsessive about where I was and what I was doing, suddenly stopped asking questions. I'd come home late, and she wouldn't even look up from her phone. That might sound like a good thing to some, but for me it felt cold. She wasn't present anymore. At first, I chalked it up to stress. She'd been talking about some tension at work, a new manager, more hours, toxic coworkers. She said she was drained. Fine. I cooked more, cleaned more, gave her space. Then the weekend trip started. Girls' weekends. Mia's bachelorette. Jenny's divorce party. Something new every month. And when I asked if I could tag along or drop her off at the airport, to be helpful, she'd get defensive. That was the first real red flag. And then there were the calls. I started hearing her whispering in the other room at night. She said it was her cousin, who was going through a bad breakup. But when I came near, she'd instantly switch tabs or lower her voice. She even started locking her phone, something she never used to do. I'm not a paranoid guy, but you don't have to be Sherlock Holmes to figure out something's up when your wife suddenly goes cold and secretive. What really twisted my gut? The perfume. There's this one scent, this expensive designer one I bought her for our anniversary 2 years ago. She only wore it for special occasions. But lately, she started spraying it on right before leaving for these so-called girls' nights. She never wore it for me anymore. Still, I didn't say anything. I didn't want to be that guy, the jealous, insecure husband. So I kept quiet. Until one night, about a month ago, I noticed something. A stupid little detail that stuck in my brain like a splinter. She had a second toothbrush in her travel bag. A man's toothbrush. I didn't say anything about the toothbrush right away. I just stared at it. Blue handle, clearly not hers, worn down like it had been used for a while. It wasn't new, and it definitely wasn't mine. She left the travel bag unzipped on the bathroom counter that morning before heading to work. Maybe she was in a rush. Maybe she thought I wouldn't notice. But I saw it. I touched it. I took a photo of it. That night, I waited until we were sitting on the couch and casually asked, "Hey, whose toothbrush is in your travel bag?" Her body tensed. Barely a second of hesitation, but I caught it. Then she laughed, this forced, high-pitched thing, and said, "Oh, that's Mia's boyfriend's toothbrush. He crashed in our hotel room last time. Long story." "Ah," I said. "You didn't mention he was coming on the girls' weekend." "He wasn't," she shot back, instantly irritated. "He just showed up." Mia was freaking out, so I said he could stay. "Why are you being weird about this?" I dropped it. For a minute. That night, after she fell asleep, I picked up her phone from the nightstand. Tried her old passcode. Didn't work. She changed it. I sat in the dark for a good 20 minutes, staring at the black screen, heart pounding. I hadn't touched her phone in years. Never had a reason to. We had nothing to hide, or so I thought. Next day, I bought a cheap burner phone and installed a GPS tracker app. Synced it to her phone when she went to shower. She never noticed. A week later, I had a location history that didn't match the lies. She said she was at a coworker's birthday dinner downtown. GPS said she was parked for 5 hours outside an apartment complex 20 minutes away. She said she worked late on Tuesday. GPS said she was at the same place again. Same unit. So I did what any suspicious husband would do. I drove there. I parked across the street and waited. I had no idea what I was even looking for. But then she came out. And so did someone else. Tall guy. Black hoodie. Messy hair. Couldn't see his face clearly. But when she hugged him, and I mean hugged him, something inside me cracked. She laughed, pulled his hood down, and kissed him like she was starring in a rom-com. Then they both got into her car and drove off. And that's when I saw it. I knew that face. It was Eric. Her ex-Eric. The same Eric she swore was ancient history. The ex she hadn't spoken to in years. The one she used to call a man-child who couldn't hold a job and smoked weed in his mom's basement. Yeah, that Eric. I remember asking her about him early in our relationship. Out of curiosity, not jealousy. She gave me the usual, "We're not even friends anymore," followed by, "You don't need to worry about him." She actually mocked him more than once. Called him clingy, broke, emotionally unavailable. The guy was basically a walking red flag factory, according to her. Now she was making out with him in a parking lot. I sat in my car, frozen, watching them drive off in the same vehicle I paid half for. I didn't follow. I didn't move. Just sat there for 20 minutes, trying to convince myself I hadn't seen what I saw. She got home around midnight. I pretended to be asleep. She took a long shower, came to bed smelling like that same damn perfume, and crawled under the covers like everything was normal. I laid there, listening to her breathing, trying to match it with mine. My hands were shaking. Not from rage, not yet, but from this nauseating mix of disbelief and adrenaline. I didn't sleep a second that night. The next day, she acted like nothing happened. Made coffee, asked if I needed anything from the store, told me her team lead was being a bitch again. I smiled, said I had to run an errand. Left. I drove back to the apartment building. Parked. Waited. And I didn't have to wait long. Around 11:30 a.m., Eric came out. Same hoodie. Same stupid bounce in his step like he just won the lottery. I snapped a few pictures. Nothing too close. Just enough to show his face, the building number, and a timestamp. Then I did the one thing I told myself I wouldn't do. I texted Lena at work. Hey, who's Eric? Dot. 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 No reply for 20 minutes. Then finally, Eric who? I didn't answer. A minute later. Why are you asking? I sent the picture. No reply. 2 hours later, she came home early. Walked in like she was ready for war. She slammed her bag on the table, looked me dead in the eye, and said, "Why on earth are you spying on me?" I didn't even flinch when she dropped her bag. I just leaned back on the couch and stared at her. Calm. Silent. She repeated it louder. "Why on earth are you spying on me?" I tilted my head. "Why are you sneaking around with your ex?" That shut her up for about 3 seconds. Then she rolled her eyes, crossed her arms, and hit me with the classic. "It's not what it looks like." I laughed. I actually laughed. Because it was exactly what it looked like. And she knew it. She launched into a performance worthy of an Oscar. He just needed help. He was going through a breakup. He reached out to me because he was depressed. It's not like that. And my personal favorite. I didn't want to tell you because I knew you'd overreact. Right. So she hid it, lied about it, kissed him in public, and brought him into our car. But I'm the one overreacting? I just said, "Tell me the truth. All of it. Right now? You get one shot." Her eyes darted around like she was trying to find the right combination of lies to unlock the get out of this door. Then she sat down across from me, took a deep breath, and said, "Okay, we've been talking for a few months. Just talking. That's it. Nothing happened until last week. I swear. It was a mistake." "Which part?" I asked. "The kissing? Or the part where you lied to my face for weeks?" She tried to cry. And I mean tried. No tears. Just a lot of heavy breathing and fake sniffling. She stood up, turned her back to me like she was in a soap opera scene, and said, "You haven't been present lately. You've been cold. Distant." I felt alone. There it was. The blame shift. "You cheated because I wasn't affectionate enough." I asked. She spun around like she rehearsed it. "I didn't cheat. It was a mistake." I stood up, pulled out my phone, and showed her a screenshot. Her and Eric kissing in the parking lot. "Tell me what that is, Lena." She froze, then quietly muttered, "Okay, maybe it's been going on longer than I said." I asked how long. She bit her lip, then whispered, "Since March." It was October. March. 7. Damn. Months. That was when I'd started noticing her changing. The random mood swings. The sudden late-night showers. The defensive attitude. All of it lined up. And the worst part? She watched me go crazy, questioning my own instincts, while she kept lying straight to my face. I didn't say anything for a moment. I just sat back down. She stood there like a kid who just got caught stealing, trying to look sorry, but failing miserably. "So you've been cheating on me for 7 months, I said, slowly. "With your ex. The one you told me not to worry about." She didn't deny it. Just mumbled. "It didn't mean anything." That's when I lost it. 7 months doesn't happen by accident, Lena. You don't accidentally lie for 200 straight days. You don't sneak around, send messages, meet him, cross that line. Unless your whole life is just one endless disaster. She tried to cut in. "It was never about him." But I kept going. "You used me. You used this house, my money, And now you're standing here acting like you just spilled a drink on the carpet. That's when she finally snapped back. You don't get to act like a saint. You haven't exactly been husband of the year lately either. I stared at her. You're seriously going to blame me for your affair? She looked away, arms crossed, like a teenager caught sneaking out. That was it. I was done talking. I got up, walked to the bedroom, grabbed a duffel bag, and started tossing in clothes. She followed, panicking now. Wait, what are you doing? Leaving. You're just going to walk out? I'm not staying in a house where I have to Lysol the furniture before I sit down. You're overreacting. I zipped the bag, looked her in the eye, and said, this was never a marriage. It was a damn con job, and I was the idiot who fell for it. I left, didn't even slam the door, just walked out, got in my car, and drove with no idea where I was going. I ended up in a parking lot 2 towns over. Sat there for 2 hours staring at the steering wheel. That night, I booked a hotel. Then I called my buddy Mark and told him everything. His response, dude, you're not going back there, right? I crashed at the hotel for 2 nights. Didn't eat much. Barely slept. Just sat in that room thinking about how stupid I felt. I kept going back through every little moment from the last year, trying to figure out how I missed it all. On the 3rd day, I went to Mark's place. He'd cleared out his guest room. Said I could stay as long as I needed. Good dude, we've been tight since college. His only request was simple. Don't go back to her until your head's clear. And even then, don't go back. That night, something happened I wasn't ready for. I got a message from one of Lena's coworkers. We'll call her Jess. She and I barely ever talked, but she sent a long message on Facebook. Hey, I'm sorry if this is overstepping, but I just found out what happened between you and Lena. I think you should know you weren't crazy. People at work knew something was going on. She was always texting someone, sneaking off for phone calls, showing up late looking like she'd been crying. I didn't know it was Eric until recently. I stared at the message for a solid minute. I asked her how she found out. She replied with, one of the interns took a photo last week at a work lunch. Eric was in it. Lena didn't know he was behind her. Someone joked about it in our group chat, and she freaked out. Deleted the photo. Left the chat. Everyone put it together real quick. So yeah, she wasn't even subtle about it. She was just banking on me being blind and her coworkers not caring. But it got worse. Jess sent me a screenshot from their old group chat before Lena rage quit it. There was a message from one of the other girls. Wait, wasn't she talking about getting back together with him like last year? I asked Jess what that meant. She hesitated. Then she said, she told some of us a while ago that she ran into Eric randomly and that it messed her up emotionally. That was late last year, I think. I didn't think much of it at the time. So it wasn't 7 months. It was longer. She'd been planning this. I don't know what snapped inside me at that moment, but I felt colder than I ever have in my life. I realized I'd married a woman who not only cheated, she lined it up in advance. She greased the wheels. She reconnected with the guy she claimed to hate and chose him over me. And now, she was blowing up my phone. Texts, calls, voicemails, all of it coming in one after another. I hadn't answered a single one in 3 days. But then I got one that stopped me cold. I'm late. Just 2 words. That text hit me like a truck. I'm late. I stared at it for probably 5 straight minutes. No explanation. No follow-up. Just that. I didn't reply. I forwarded the message to Mark and just wrote, she's trying to bait me. He called immediately. Dude, don't answer. Don't take the bait. Even if it's true, it's not your problem anymore. And I knew he was right. But I also knew Lena. She wasn't careless. She was calculated. She knew exactly what kind of mental grenade that message was. And now she was waiting for me to pull the pin. An hour later, she sent another one. I don't know if it's yours or his. I just thought you deserved to know. And there it was. She didn't even try to be discreet about it. She was openly admitting she'd been sleeping with both of us around the same time. No shame. No dignity. Just pure, emotional manipulation. I still didn't answer. The next morning, I booked an appointment with a lawyer. I didn't want to sit on this any longer. I explained the whole situation, the affair, the evidence, the GPS tracking, the messages, the pictures. He was professional, but didn't sugarcoat it. You're in a strong position, he said. We'll file for divorce. And if she's pregnant, we'll demand a paternity test as part of the proceedings. I felt like I could breathe again. That evening, Lena showed up at Mark's place. Unannounced. I was in the kitchen when I heard the knock. Mark opened the door, and there she was, looking like hell. Puffy eyes. Hoodie. No makeup, like she was trying to look pitiful on purpose. I need to talk to him, she said. Mark didn't budge. He doesn't want to talk to you. She tried to push past him, but he stepped in front. Seriously, go. That's when she spotted me standing behind him. Please, she said, staring right at me. Can we just talk? I didn't say a word. Just crossed my arms. She stepped forward. I'm sorry. For everything. I panicked. I screwed up. But I love you. I always have. I looked her dead in the eye. Is it mine? Her face flickered for a second. I don't know. I haven't seen a doctor yet. You slept with him without protection? She didn't answer. I turned and walked away. Mark closed the door. She stood out there for 20 minutes. Then sent one last message. If you don't talk to me, I'll assume you don't care. And I'll make my decision without you. That last message, I'll make my decision without you, wasn't a cry for help. It was a warning. She wanted me to chase her. To beg for details. To fight for a spot in her twisted little love triangle. I wasn't going to. So I didn't reply. Again. Instead, I went back to the lawyer. We filed the divorce papers officially that week. I had them served to her at work. Yes, at work. Call it petty if you want. But this woman humiliated me for nearly a year, dragged me through emotional hell, and now wanted to play mind games with a fake, or real, pregnancy. No, she earned that one. The next morning she called, voicemail this time. You're seriously going to divorce me over one mistake? After everything we've been through? Then another one. You're humiliating me. At work? Seriously? You want me to lose my job too? Then she texted me a picture of a positive pregnancy test. No date. No context. No proof it was hers. And even if it was real, how the hell was I supposed to trust anything she showed me at this point? So I replied, finally. My first text in days. If you're pregnant, I expect a court-ordered paternity test. I'll support what's mine. I won't raise another man's kid. She left me on read. 2 hours later, I got a text from an unknown number. You don't deserve her. You broke her. Then another. You think you're better than everyone? You're not. Guess who it was? Eric. This moron. This 30-something unemployed burnout she swore was a phase in college was now trying to come at me through burner numbers like a high schooler. I knew it was him because he used the same word she did. You broke her. Same language. Same manipulative bulls. So I saved the texts, screenshot everything, and sent them straight to my lawyer. His response? Great. More ammo. That weekend, Lena showed up at my parents' house. Yeah, she went there. Told them everything, except her part in it. Painted herself as the heartbroken wife abandoned by her cold, distant husband. My mom called me in tears. My dad just said, "Is this true?" I told them the full story. The affair. The ex. The pregnancy. My mom cried harder. My dad said something I'll never forget. She stepped out, son. You don't go back in. 2 days after the blow-up at my parents' house, Lena sent me an email. Subject: we need to talk before it's too late. The body of the message was full of the same crap I'd already heard. She missed me. She didn't know what she was thinking. She was blinded by emotion. Eric manipulated her, and she wanted to fix things. But at the end, she added this little gem. I've decided to keep the baby, regardless of who the father is. But if there's even a chance it's yours, I think we owe it to our child to talk, before lawyers get involved. So now she wanted to talk, because I lawyered up. The same woman who was literally dry-humping her ex in public was now invoking the think of the child angle to stall the fallout. I didn't respond to the email. Instead, I showed it to my lawyer. He shook his head, chuckled, and said, "They always bring out the baby card when the rope starts tightening." We filed the request for paternity testing to be included in the divorce process. That same night, Lena showed up again, this time at Mark's. And Mark had finally had enough. He stepped outside, closed the door behind him, and told her flat out, "You're not coming in. You want to talk? Do it through your attorney. You show up again, we're calling the cops." She screamed at him, screamed. Neighbors peeked out. She started crying, full meltdown mode, and yelled, "He's making me choose between my family and my baby." And that's when I walked into the doorway and said, "You made your choice in March." She stopped, went silent. Then, like she was flipping a switch, she said, "Fine. If that's how you want to play it, you'll regret this." She got in her car and peeled out of the neighborhood. 3 hours later, Eric posted a cryptic status on Facebook. Some people don't know how to appreciate a real woman. But I do. Real subtle, genius. I took another screenshot. This whole situation was turning into a reality show, except I didn't sign up for it, and there was no prize at the end. Then came the kicker. Next morning, I got an email from Lena's lawyer. It was a settlement offer. She wanted half the house, spousal support for emotional distress, full custody if the child was mine, and a clause stating I couldn't pursue defamation if she made any future personal statements about the divorce. She basically wanted to cheat, lie, play victim, and have a legal pass to trash me publicly. Mark looked at the paper, then looked at me and said, "You realize this is a trap, right?" Yeah, I did. I didn't respond to the settlement offer. Not directly. Instead, I instructed my lawyer to counter it with nothing. No house split, no spousal support, no gag clause, and full paternity testing before any discussion of custody. He sent it off the next day. Lena went quiet. No messages. No emails. No pop-ups at Mark's place. Nothing. And for the first time in months, I felt something close to peace. I got my stuff moved into a small apartment. I changed my number. Told all mutual friends the truth, not with drama, just facts. Some were shocked. A few admitted they'd always had a weird feeling about Eric. One actually said, "Wait, that Eric? The guy she used to call her rock bottom?" Yeah, him. Then one night, I got a message on Instagram. A burner account with no posts, no profile pic, nothing. It was a photo of Eric in my old living room. Feet on my coffee table, arm around my wife, both of them laughing. Then a message followed. "Thanks for the house, bro." I laughed, because they thought I still cared. That was the moment I knew I was really done. But still, I needed closure. Not emotional closure. Tactical closure. So I did something that, looking back, was probably a little evil. I logged into Lena's old Amazon account. She had used my email to set it up years ago and never changed the recovery contact. Guess what I found? Wish lists. Saved addresses. Orders. And one of those addresses? It wasn't mine. And it wasn't hers. It was his. Eric's name. On an apartment about 45 minutes away. And guess what else? She'd been shipping stuff there for months. Bedding. Clothes. Even a ridiculous spice rack. So, while she was telling me she needed space to find herself, she was literally furnishing his apartment. I didn't blow up. I just forwarded the entire account history to my lawyer. Why? Because she'd claimed in her legal filing that she had no financial ties to Eric and had not cohabitated with anyone since the separation. That was a lie. And in court, that matters. I sat on that for a week. Let her think I was folding. Let her think the silence meant she'd won. Then came the court hearing. She walked in with Eric, wearing a white dress. No, not a wedding dress. But it might as well have been. She looked smug. He looked like he was ready to high-five the judge. That's when my lawyer dropped the first nuke. The Amazon account logs. Then the second nuke. Paternity test results. When my lawyer slid the paternity results across the table, Lena blinked like someone had just smacked her. Eric, sitting beside her with his dumb, "I won" grin, didn't get it at first. He leaned over her shoulder to look, still smiling, until his eyes hit the words. Paternity, excluded. Not mine. The child she'd been using to emotionally manipulate me, to try and guilt-trip me into staying, into paying, into caring, wasn't even mine. I didn't say a word. Didn't smirk. Didn't gloat. Just looked dead into her eyes as the blood drained from her face. She started stammering. "This must be wrong. It's not right. The timing." The judge cut her off. Reminded her that fraudulent claims made under oath have legal consequences. Then came the third nuke. Cohabitation and shared finances with Eric, proven via the Amazon logs, delivery addresses, and timestamps that lined up with her work trips and girls' weekends. My lawyer laid it out clearly. Lena had lied in her affidavits, manipulated timelines, and attempted to defraud the court in pursuit of spousal support and custody leverage. It went from a divorce hearing to a credibility bloodbath in 30 minutes. The judge didn't even look at her for most of it. She just kept scribbling notes. Then she finally leaned forward and said, "Mrs. Redacted, based on the evidence presented, this court sees no reason to award spousal support. Furthermore, your attempt to mislead the court regarding cohabitation raises serious concerns." Eric opened his mouth to say something, but his own name was now in the legal record. As Lena's cohabitating partner. As the man she lied about financially and physically depending on. You could almost see the realization hit him. Wait, I'm part of this mess now. They left the courtroom in total silence. No eye contact. No parting words. Lena was visibly shaking. Eric had this 1,000-yard stare like someone had just unplugged his brain. Afterwards, my lawyer and I walked to the parking garage, and I asked him, "How bad do you think it'll get for them?" He shrugged. "Depends. She could face perjury charges if the court wants to push it. At minimum, she'll have a black mark on any future custody or financial petitions. And him? He's just collateral damage. Dumb collateral." Later that week, Lena tried to call me. For times. I didn't answer. Then came the text. "You destroyed me. I hope you're happy." I didn't reply. Because no, I wasn't happy. I was free. After the court hearing, it was like someone hit a switch in Lena's world, and everything that once worked for her just stopped. Mutual friends started distancing themselves. Not because I asked them to, but because they saw the truth. Screenshots made their way around. So did the story, minus my spin. Just the facts. Lena cheated. Lied. Got caught. Tried to trap me with a baby that wasn't mine. People pick sides in breakups, yeah, but no one wants to side with the one who fakes paternity and commits perjury. Mark told me one of the mutuals said, "She always acted like she was too smart for everyone. Guess she played herself." As for Eric, he nuked his social media accounts within a week. From what I've heard, he moved out of the apartment she'd been furnishing. Guess the attention wasn't worth the drama once it all hit court documents. Lena started messaging again. Not love notes. Not begging. Just bitterness. "You made me look like a monster. How could you destroy my life over one mistake? You think you're the good guy, but you're just heartless." She never apologized. Not really. She wanted control back. That was the one thing she couldn't stand losing. I blocked her number. She made a new one. Blocked again. Finally, she sent an email. A long one. Paragraph after paragraph about how we should have gone to counseling, how she panicked, how she got in over her head with Eric, how the pregnancy was a wake-up call. And at the end, the twist. "I'm no longer expecting. I thought you should know." I sat with that email open for 5 minutes. Read it twice. 3 times. And I felt nothing. No sadness. No relief. No anger. Just flatline. I didn't respond. Not because I didn't believe her. Not because I did. But because it didn't matter. That chapter was closed. The divorce finalized 2 weeks later. She got none of what she asked for. No house. No support. No chance to publicly smear me with legal protection. I walked away with my name, my money, and my peace intact. It's strange how fast things shift when the chaos finally stops. The night after the divorce finalized, I went home, to my own space, my own bed, no noise, no texts, no fake apologies. Just silence. And I realized I wasn't broken anymore. I started sleeping better. No more waking up to anxiety spikes. No more double-checking her location or wondering why she was late again. The mental bandwidth I'd wasted trying to hold our marriage together, I had it all back. I started doing things I'd stopped doing years ago. I rejoined a boxing gym. I picked up weekend hiking again. I even started cooking real meals instead of living off takeout and stress. And for the first time in years, I wasn't walking on eggshells in my own house. Lena stayed quiet for a while after the final paperwork came in. No texts, no calls, but I knew it wouldn't last. Sure enough, 2 weeks later, she sent a final message through a friend's number. "I hope one day you'll remember the good in us and not just how it ended." I didn't reply. What was there to say? There was good, sure. At one point, she was my best friend. We laughed. We had memories. But she chose to burn that all down, not in a moment of weakness, but through months of decisions. Repeatedly. Consciously. What stuck with me wasn't how it ended. It was how it started ending long before I ever knew. When she let someone back into her life, someone she swore was nothing, and let him slowly take everything I trusted. Some people cheat because of opportunity. Some because they're broken. Others cheat because they believe they're smarter than everyone around them. Lena was that third kind. Calculated. Confident she could have it all. And when it blew up, she played victim. Not anymore. I told Mark one night over drinks, it wasn't just the cheating. It was the arrogance of thinking I'd never find out. And he nodded, dead serious. That's why you won. Because you walked away before it swallowed you. It's been a few months now. Life's calm. No unexpected knocks. No fake pregnancy drama. No shady burner accounts. Lena's completely disappeared from my radar. The mutual friends who didn't cut her off outright just quietly drifted away from her. Some reached out later to tell me she'd tried spinning a new version of the story. Something about me being emotionally distant and unavailable, and her needing comfort. But no one bought it. Apparently, Eric ghosted her shortly after the court hearing. Classic. She burned her marriage for a guy who couldn't even stick around long enough to see the final crash. I heard she tried to get her job to relocate her, said the environment was too hostile after the public embarrassment. Translation: she was mad people stopped believing her BS. I never answered her last message. Never wrote back. But if I could send her one final word, one letter, this would be it. You lied. You cheated. You tried to ruin me because I saw through you. You used your body to manipulate men and your tears to manipulate pity. You weren't just unfaithful, you were dangerous. And the worst part? You thought I'd take it, that I'd crumble. But I didn't. I got smarter. I got colder. And now? I'm not mad. I'm just done. Whatever mess you've made now, it's yours to clean up. I'm not coming back to save you. You burned the bridge, pissed on the ashes, and then wondered why no one's calling. Goodbye. Forever. Of course, I'll never send it. Not because I'm scared of her reaction, but because people like her feed on attention, even hate. Silence is the sharpest knife you can hand them. And mine is cut deep. It's over now. Legally, emotionally, mentally, I've closed the book. Not just on her, but on the version of myself that tolerated lies, made excuses, and mistook loyalty for love. I spent months asking myself what I did wrong. The truth? I didn't do anything wrong. I just trusted the wrong person. So if you're reading this, if you're where I was, second-guessing every little thing, brushing off your instincts because you don't want to seem jealous, or she'd never do that, listen to me. If your gut is screaming, pay attention. Don't wait for undeniable proof. Don't ignore red flags because you're scared of starting over. You're not crazy. You're not paranoid. And you're not controlling just because you notice something doesn't add up. Lena was smart, manipulative, polished. She didn't leave obvious trails. Not at first. But over time, the cracks showed. And when they did, I didn't run. I watched. I gathered. I played her game better than she did. And I walked away stronger. I didn't get revenge. I got clarity. I didn't get closure from her. I got it from seeing how she unraveled without my silence to hide behind. Now, I'm not bitter. I'm not jaded. I've just raised my standards. I value peace over passion, loyalty over lust. And I'll never again confuse comfort with commitment. People have asked me if I'll ever trust again. Yes, but not blindly. I'll trust actions, not just words. Patterns, not apologies. And I'll never ignore the sound of silence after a lie.